All right, everyone, welcome to our 9010 Nutrition webinar. My name is Ryan Chapman. I'm the creator of 9010 Nutrition, and I'm excited to welcome you all to this webinar. If someone invited you to this webinar, then they just want to share the 9010 Nutrition system with you. It is a free system, and it is a system that has helped a whole lot of people learn to change their relationship with food and really learn how to see food in a different way, so that when you go into the store and you look at food, you look at it in a different way where you're not as tempted to pick up the bad stuff because you see food in this other way. And it's amazing to see people's thought process change, and then to see the pounds come off because of it, to see the energy go up, to see the people have these amazing results. And most of all, to see people on something that they say, I could eat like this forever. Like you saw the little slogan on the on our main slide, that is really what people say about 9010 Nutrition, that they could eat like this forever. Basically, just a little bit of logistics on this webinar. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you back through my story and how I created 9010 Nutrition, why I created it, and how it came about. And I'm going to go through some of the specifics of the program. I think it's important for you to understand how it came about so that you know why it works, because that's part of the story. And then I'll go through some of the specifics of how the system works, and then we'll talk about how you can get involved. Everything here is going to be your choice. This is not a hard sell program. It's a free program, so there's really not a lot of hard selling to do. So sit back and relax, enjoy the story, see if some of it relates to you. If you think it's something that could help you, then join up with us. There is a business side to 9010. It is my business. I do it for a living. The way that I make money on 9010 is through the products that we recommend to people, but none of them are required in order to be in the system. So we'll talk about that product, the main product, and some of the other products that we use, and you'll have the choice of whether you want to use those or not, or if you just want to hang out in 9010 for free. Okay, so let me take you through my story. In order to do that, I'm going to share my screen with you. I have a few pictures and slides to show you. Let me see if I can do that real quick here. Without messing anything up. Hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. Let's see the 9010 Nutrition logo and our little slogan there. I'm going to go ahead and go through this. This is me in, oh gosh, that's probably 1990 or so. And I'm the one down here that you can see on the lower right of the front row that's kind of highlighted or brighter. And I'll tell you, I grew up as a kid that was overweight. Obviously, you can see that I was overweight there, but I never really, in most cases, felt like it, except for in certain, like maybe shopping for clothes or something. I had to shop in the Husky section. I never really felt like I was overweight. It was kind of like I was that fat kid that never knew he was fat. In fact, I can specifically remember the two kids that are standing directly behind me that are twins that you can see, one directly behind me and then one just to my to the left of me there. I always remember that year. I remember them as the overweight kids, not myself. And clearly I'm at least as overweight, if not more, than they are. And I always thought of them as the overweight kids and not me. And basically, I felt like I always had that potential to be like the shortstop in the Little League team, but I was never fast enough. Like I had the glove, I had the arm, not fast enough. Basketball, good shot, good ball handling skills, not fast enough to play defense. It was like it always held me back just a little bit. Like, and I'll just stop here for just a second and say, I don't want to paint a picture of my childhood like it was horrible. I had a great childhood. I had great parents. I got to do a lot of stuff. It was amazing. But as far as weight and athletics and potential and stuff like that, I was always just held back a little bit by my weight. And I kind of went through a life like that. This is my older brother, my grandpa, and me. See, just overweight. And in between this picture here and this picture here, I probably lost 30 pounds 3 times and then gained it back. From the time I was 12 years old, I was on a diet. I cannot remember a time, just on and off. I can't remember, not being on a diet from about the time I was 12 years old. And these weren't inflicted upon me or insisted upon me by my parents. This was just, I kind of, I knew I needed to lose weight, and so I would go put myself on a 1,200 calorie diet. I can remember at 12 years old checking the nutritional information at Taco Bell to make sure I stayed under my 1,200 calorie limit. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm I'm pretty adamant now that I don't want my kids to be counting calories when they're 12 years old. I don't want them to have to think about that, but I want them to just be able to eat food, you know, and just be a kid and not be counting calories to 1200 to try to lose weight when they're 12 years old. But that was how it was for me. I lost weight, I gained weight. I lost weight, I gained weight. I dieted, I didn't diet. I dieted, I didn't diet. Maybe some of you can relate to that. Maybe not in your younger years like me, but maybe in your older years. Diet, not diet, lose weight, gain it back, gain more back, lose some weight. Yo-yo dieting is very common, and calorie restriction and counting calories is also very common. This is me in high school. We'll skip through some of these pictures. High school, college, still, you know, up and down, 40 pounds overweight, 60 pounds overweight, 50 pounds overweight, just all over the place. College time frame, there's my college access card or ID card picture. I'm probably about 250 pounds at that point, so I'm a good, you know, 70, 80 pounds overweight at least, college time frame. This is nearing the end of college, fishing down in the Florida Keys. And then this is my college graduation picture. So this is 2003. I'm about 260 pounds in this picture. And then I gained another 15 pounds after I left there. So I went to work, and here I am, probably 260 again because I've lost 15 pounds. But I went up. It might be 270 there or so, but I went up to 275 when I got to my highest. I'm all the way on the right there if you can't tell. There I am again, probably about 260 to 270. And then I started losing the weight. And I'll tell you how I lost the weight. I met this girl. She's in this picture here. And I got serious about her, and I wanted to lose the weight. And you know, that's actually part of it, but I'll go back just a little bit further. Okay. So before I met her, I went on a ski trip with my parents, and I met some buddies up there at Big Mountain in Whitefish, Montana, if anybody knows Big Mountain in Whitefish. And all of a sudden, you know, that little bit that my weight was holding me back, like when I had tipped up to 275, like I had a hard time skiing. Like I had a hard time keeping up with people that I used to be able to keep up with, even though I was overweight. Like this kind of pushed it over the edge where I was like really struggling. And so I was like, I got to do something. And so before I went down to San Diego and I met this girl who is now my wife, I started losing weight. And then I kind of plateaued off a little bit when I met her, and, you know, we had some fun, and then it was time to get serious because we were going to get married. And so I went into a weight loss contest with a buddy of mine, and I went back to my old faithful, which by this time was 1,500 calories and work out like crazy. And so I ate 1,500 calories, and I played 90 minutes to 2 hours of racquetball 4 to 5 days a week, and I lost 100 pounds. I basically lost 100 pounds doing that. And you're like, oh, wow, that's great. You lost 100 pounds counting calories. No, it wasn't great. It was horrible. It was, I can remember the things I remember the most about those times is going to bed hungry. I remember hating it. I remember eating things like ice cream, starving myself throughout the day so that I could have things like ice cream at night. I was eating lean cuisines from the freezer. I was eating M&Ms, like 100-calorie packs of M&Ms to try to stay under the 1,500 calories, but still have treats and things like that. I was drinking 12 packs of Diet Coke, not every day, probably like more like 6 Diet Cokes a day. I was buying Diet Coke bottles from the vending machines at work. I wasn't eating healthy. I was restricting calories. And it did work with all the working out. I lost all that weight, but I hated it. And maybe some of you can relate to hating dieting because you've been restricting calories, not necessarily paying as much attention to what you're eating, or thinking that healthy food doesn't taste good. And so you just restrict calories. It works for a while. Maybe it stops working. You have to try to reshock your system. You got to work out like crazy to make it all work. And you just hate it. And most of us we don't say, well, I hate it, so I'm not doing it. We say, well, I hate it, but that's just the way it is. And so you just have to deal with it. Like, dieting sucks, and that's just the way it is. This is me after losing the 100 pounds. What I'm going to tell you, though, is that dieting doesn't have to suck, and that's what we're going to get to. So just a couple more pictures. This is me at the wedding. So I was down to about, at the wedding, I was down to about 190 or so. So I had lost 85 pounds or so at that point. By 2012, I had finished an Ironman in under 12 hours and was about 170 pounds. So I lost like 105 pounds. This is a pretty good before and after picture from probably 2013 on the right and 2003 on the left, so about 10 years difference there. And this is a great picture of me and my dad in about 2000 and me and my dad in 2010, so another 10-year apart picture. So that is what had happened to me. But what happened after I lost that 100 pounds is I really started doing triathlons, and I started doing a whole bunch of, high intensity workouts and things like that. And I realized that this 1,500 calorie diet and the way I'd always learned to eat to maintain weight was not going to work. Like, you can't perform well in high intensity workouts eating lean cuisines and staying under 1,500 calories when you're burning large amounts of calories out there working out. And something happened just sort of by chance. I had done the P90X program at this point. This is about 2010. I had done P90X. I was following Tony Horton, and Tony Horton posted a note on Facebook. I don't know if anybody posts notes on Facebook anymore, but they used to be able to post a note, which was like a longer post, right? And Tony posted this thing from a friend of his that said, what if you, instead of counting your calories, you counted your ingredients? And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean count your ingredients? I don't even know what you're talking about. And so he posted this. This is what you see on the screen there, if you can even read it from where you're at, is 3 items that people would think that they were eating healthy if they ate these 3. Most people would think that they're eating pretty healthy if they ate these 3 items. It's like, here's somebody's breakfast, snack, and lunch. Okay. The top paragraph there is the ingredients list for Kellogg's Smart Start cereal. And if you read through it, it's rice, whole grain wheat, sugar, oat clusters, which also have another parentheses, and sugar. And then a little bit further down, you got BHT for freshness, which is a preservative. And then you got some honey, which is also sweet. And then you've got corn syrup and polydextrose, which are both sugar, more honey. BHT, again, artificial flavor, high fructose corn syrup. You get the idea, right? Bunch of crazy things that you can't buy anywhere else in the store. They're just things that are in products. The second thing is wheat thins, original wheat thins. Okay, so that's the ingredients list for original wheat thins. The bottom huge section is the ingredients list for it's a chicken fettuccine Alfredo lean cuisine. That's the list. So there's it's hard to tell because of all the parentheses and brackets and everything, where it's like there's an ingredient and then that actually has 6 ingredients, one of which has 6 more ingredients in it. So it's hard to tell how many ingredients there really are. But there's about 138 or somewhere in that range, 130 some ingredients that you would eat if you ate these 3 items, breakfast, snack, lunch, okay, for the day. So here's what I did with that. I took that out, and this is actually from his post as well, is you put those 3 items into MyFitnessPal, and you get 610 calories, 109 grams of carbs, 11 grams of fat, and 22 grams of protein. So that's your macros, right? Carbs, fat, and protein is the 3 things that pretty much make up all food. And that's how you can tell how many calories are in it. And what he was able to do is show that if you had, in meal number 2 here, if you had some oatmeal, just rolled oats, with some blueberries and some honey for your breakfast, then you had some green beans with butter on them, some brown rice, and some chicken, you could end up at 614 calories, 115 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat, and 21 grams of protein, which is almost exactly the same. So basically, you have hit the same exact macros from these 7 items. So here's your ingredients list for the exact same number of calories and carbs, fat, and protein. So 7 ingredients versus 138 ingredients. When I saw this, I was absolutely blown away. I was like, that is incredible. I know what each one of the things on that list is. I know what they are. I know exactly where to get them in the store. I can buy them. They're single ingredient items. They're just food. They're real food. I still didn't believe him though. I was like, whatever, that doesn't make that much of a difference. Calories are calories, right? Calories in, calories out. You know, like if I just have less calories than what I burn, I'm good to go. I'll be healthy. I'll be fine. Not exactly true. So I did an experiment. I said, okay, if this is really true, let me do an experiment. Summer 2010, 45 days long. I limited my ingredients and not my calories, trying to lose some weight, trying to, perform in workouts and lose weight at the same time. I tracked my calories to see what they were, but I did not limit them. I just limited ingredients, and I ate till full and was reasonable about it, basically. So my average intake ended up being 2,300 calories. So I was eating 800 calories more than my 1,500 calorie days where I was losing weight. And I lost 15 pounds in 45 days. My fat intake went up, which is interesting, right? Like a lot of the items that we have out there that are kind of diet food, like lean cuisines and stuff, have really low fats in them because we think fat is bad for us. So when I was eating whole foods, when I was eating low ingredient foods, I would eat things like an avocado. I would never eat an avocado when I was on a 1,500 calorie diet because they're really high in calories. So I wouldn't get very much quantity for the calories. Now it freed me up, and I said, okay, I can eat real food. So I'm going to go eat an avocado and see what happens. I'll prove this guy wrong. And 15 pounds in 45 days. And I was sold. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. I said, even at that point, I could eat like this forever. Just limit my ingredients, right? So by January of 2012, I'd been doing this for a while, but I hadn't really been able to show anybody else how to do it. I had showed them that thing, but they kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, And so what I did is I created a system around it. And that's how 90-10 Nutrition came about. I created tiers. And basically what it is there's green tier, yellow tier, and red tier. And the green tier has all of the best foods on it. And they're ingredients, basically. They're single ingredient items with a few exceptions. The yellow tier has the okay foods, but not things you want to eat all the time. And the red tier has the stuff that you need to stay away from except for on special occasions. And 90-10 gets its name simply from eating 90% of your food from the green tier, 10% from the yellow tier, and nothing from the red tier. So 90% green, 10% yellow, only occasional treats from the red tier. They got a birthday or something like that. No daily calorie counting. You read ingredients, not the macros only. We talked about macros being carbs, fat, and protein. A lot of people do that. Like, don't you guys hear this all the time these days? Well, how many grams of protein's got in it, dude? That's the thing today is how many grams of protein does it have in it? And we don't worry as much about that as we worry about what are the ingredients. Are there good ingredients in it? We do have systems. We'll talk about that in just a second for making sure that you're getting enough variety. If you feel like you eat too much of one thing or you're just not sure how to get the variety that you need and you just want more structured options. So that's what we have. We have more structured options also available. But the 90-10 system, seriously, like you're probably going, wait, that's not it though, right? But it actually is. 90% from the green tier, 10% from the yellow tier. So what you do is you basically calculate about how many calories you think you need for the day. We have a calculator for it. It's really easy. It's probably going to come out more than you think it is. And then you're going to go and figure out what 10% of that is. And that's what you're going to allow yourself from the yellow tier if you want. You can eat 100% from the green tier if you want. That's great. But you're going to get that 10%. And then you're not really going to count calories. You're just going to watch your 10%. So if you come up with 2,000 calories, you're going to make sure you don't eat more than 200 calories from the yellow tier. And if you're 2,100, 2,200, 1,800, 1,900, anywhere in that range, you're fine. You're doing fine. You're eating real food. It's not chemical food. It's not processed food. You're eating real food. I call this a real food eating system, not a whole food eating system, just simply because we do eat things that are not whole foods. Like almond milk is not a whole food. It's not the entire almond. It's just milk from the almond, meaning basically it's water and pureed almond, basically strained out pureed almond. So it's not a whole food, but it's real food. It's not processed in the sense that it's got chemicals added to it and has corn syrup and polydextrose and all those things that you were reading in those huge ingredients lists. Okay. So that's the 90-10 system. We have amazing resources. Okay. We have this website. This website's got all kinds of stuff on it. We're making it better every day. We've got big plans for it. Right now, what you're able to do is go to the Start Here section, put your weight in, what you burn on average for your workouts, which there's a little help button there that will help you, especially if you're doing a Beachbody workout, which we're associated with. It'll calculate your calorie target for you. You can go on to the next step, and you're going to have 3 options. You've got your freedom option, which I just explained to you. it is 90% from the green, 10% from the yellow, 0 from the red. That's the freedom option. That's it. When you click that freedom box there, it's going to have the tiers there for you to download either in PDF format or in an online format. You can save the link to the home screen of your phone or your iPad or whatever you got, and you'll have the tiers with you all the time. The middle option is the structure option, where we use serving sizes like cup and tablespoon and all that kind of stuff to give you more variety, make sure that you're getting more variety. So we'll actually tell you how to eat enough vegetables and enough meats and enough, all the different food groups, healthy fats, fruits, all that kind of stuff. We'll actually tell you based on serving sizes, you get this many servings of veggies, you get this many servings of proteins, right? And then our most structure option, we actually have incorporated Beachbody's 21-day fix containers in, so you can do the same thing as the serving option, but with the containers, where you don't have to really measure anything. You get 5 red containers, you get 4 blue containers, you get based on your calorie calculation. Okay, so you get your calorie calculation. Go look here on the next page. You're doing the serving option or whatever here, or the fix option. You can go look and say, oh, let's see, my calories was 2,200. Plan D is calories targets between 21 and 2,300. So I'm on Plan D. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green containers, 4 yellow containers, 4 purple containers. Hope that makes sense to you guys. And then there's tiers specific to that you can download. The green tier, yellow tier, and red tier, you can download those, or you can use the online one, save it to your home screen on your phone or your tablet. Okay. Let's talk about Shakeology real quick. We're about 10 minutes from the end of this webinar, so let's get into it. Shakeology is, because we are associated with Beachbody, we are not directly affiliated with Beachbody. We're all independent Team Beachbody coaches, which means that we are capable of selling the Shakeology and the workout programs that Beachbody sells. Like I said at the beginning of the webinar, these are not required in order to be in our program. You can be in 90-10, benefit from all the stuff that 90-10 has to offer, all of our resources and everything. At this point, we are not requiring that anybody buy Shakeology in order to get into it. Although Shakeology is something that every one of us coaches does, and many, many people in the group do, because it's an extremely helpful tool. I've explained it like this. It's like a smartphone for someone who owns a business. If you own a business, you certainly can do a business without a smartphone. Even today, even in an electronic world, you can do one without a smartphone. If you got a phone, a flip phone, or maybe you got, something like that, you can get around. You can use a day planner. You can use a flip phone. You're going to be a little bit less efficient than people with a smartphone, because you don't have an integrated Google Calendar that pops up notes and tells you when to be where. And you're not going to be able to GPS navigate on your phone to make sure you're going to the right place. And you're not going to be able to Yelp, where's the closest Subway to here so I can grab something. Oh, don't eat at Subway though, by the way. But you're not going to be able to Yelp something real quick and get a quick lunch so that you can get on with your day. So a smartphone is a good investment for someone who's owning a business. Smartphone's a good investment for some people who don't own a business, right? But it's not 100% necessary to be a business person. Shakeology is not 100% necessary to be a healthy person, but it is an amazing investment. It's an extremely helpful tool. It's the only shake that I've ever seen on the market that is completely green tier. You can drink it as a green tier item in 90-10. It fills in the nutritional gaps. So you don't know how much manganese you're taking in, you don't know how much potassium you're taking in, you don't know how much vitamin C you're taking in. Well, everything in Shakeology adds up to basically what a multivitamin has in it. So you don't have to worry about whether you're getting enough of those vitamins anymore. So that's how it can be kind of like as useful as a smartphone. For someone who's busy, like everyone is today, you don't have time to track all that stuff and know whether you're getting all the nutrients that you need. And you can replace a meal with this. So you get to eliminate one meal where you have to worry about, oh, am I getting enough of this? Am I getting enough of that? Okay. So it's a super, super helpful tool. I really, really highly recommend that you invest the $4 or less for a meal, which is offset by the other meal that you would have bought anyway. And use Shakeology at least for the first month that you do 90-10. Super highly recommended. Talk to your coach about it, whoever invited you here, and get yourself on Shakeology for that first month of 90-10. Again, it's not required, but I highly recommend that you do that. And with that, I'll probably stop talking about Shakeology. Let's talk about the 90-10 support that you get. What do you get when you get in a 90-10 group? whether you get Shakeology or not. You get 100% free monthly challenge groups. So we're running these challenge groups with this huge community that's 600 plus people. We have a well-stocked Pinterest recipe board, so you can go on there and it's broken up into dinners, lunches, snacks, breakfast, Shakeology recipes, game day snacks, crock pot recipes. We've got video tips on there. The tiers are on Pinterest. Everything's on Pinterest, like huge resource there. We have meal planning resources for you. We're going to start actually doing weekly meal plans in the very near future. We have tips for shopping, and we have like a ton of them always in our groups. We have tips for shopping for groceries. We have videos that we put out almost on a weekly basis with recipes on them. We have one-on-one coaching support. Everybody who joins a 90-10 group will get a coach. If someone invited you here, that will be your coach. If no one invited you here and you just found this, we will assign you a coach when you sign up for 90-10. When you register, you put that you didn't have a coach, and we will assign a coach to you, okay? We got newsletter that goes out every week. We have blogs, 3, 4, 5 blogs that are written a week with recipes, tips on how to stay on track, all kinds of fun stuff on our blog. And we have hundreds of people to go on the journey with you. So imagine joining a group of 600 to 1,000 people who are all wanting to do the same thing that you're wanting to do, which is lose weight, feel good, not feel like you're starving all the time, eat real food, and something that you can do for the rest of your life, and not something that you're going to feel like you need to quit and get back on, and quit and get back on, and quit and get back on, okay? How do you get involved? Go to www.9010nutrition.com. It's 9010nutrition.com. Click on the Get Started button at the bottom. Fill out the registration form and pick your coach. Make sure you pick whoever you had that invited you here. If you can't find their name in the drop-down box, just simply put the default, which is no coach, and put in the why you're signing up for this challenge, like in that little box, just put their name, and we'll make sure that you get in touch with them. It's important that you reference your coach on that registration form, though, so we know who is going to be helping you on a daily basis and working with you. You're going to get access to all of our resources and tools when you do that. Go ahead and get your Shakeology ordered through your coach after you've signed up. Talk to them. They will help you get the best price on Shakeology, okay? The coaches have all the links to Shakeology. So whoever your coach is, if they invited you here, they're going to be able to get you that Shakeology. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and get that and then get in our group. Then you're going to get amazing results, and you're going to live. You're going to live. You're going to be able to eat real food and not be hungry all the time. And that's what I love about 90-10. And that's pretty much all that I have to say. There is a Q&A section. I'm going to stop the screen share here, go back to video. There is a Q&A section that you can ask any question you want, and I am here for as long as it takes to answer all of your questions about 90-10, how it works. You can ask questions about Shakeology, whatever you got. Just type your question in that Q&A. I'll give everybody about 2 to 3 minutes to start typing questions, just so we make sure that we get them. And if nobody has any questions, then we are all done for tonight. Anybody? No questions yet? Oh, here we got a question, I think. How is it free? Okay, so let me answer that question from Heidi. I'll go ahead and answer that question live here. So the question is, how is it free? So I talked about Shakeology and that the groups are free, but I also talked about that it is a business and that we do make money from 90-10. So here's the philosophy behind why 90-10 is free right now. And that is that we believe that the products like Shakeology and also the workouts that are associated with Beachbody are so amazing and are so useful and work so well with this program that people will want to buy them anyway. And so we allow people to come into the community, enjoy all the resources of the community, see what we do, and then decide for themselves whether they want to buy Shakeology or not. There's never any pushing or super hard selling on anything. It's just offering people the chance to do 90-10, to do Shakeology if they want to. And then the coaches make a commission off of Shakeology, and that's how we make money. And that's it. So you never have to feel like you have to do it, but it is the way that we get paid is through Shakeology. I hope that answers your question. Feel free to ask more clarifying if you need. What tier is seltzer water? We have a question here. So seltzer water would be, if it's not flavored or sweetened, seltzer water would be on the green tier. It's fine. If it's carbonated, it's just carbonated water, that's totally fine. If it's got chemicals in it of any kind, then most likely it's going to be red tier, because artificial sweeteners and artificial flavors and things like that are on the red tier. But if it's just seltzer water, you're fine to go. Does 90-10 suggest a daily water intake amount? That's our next question. No, we do not suggest a daily water intake amount. We do suggest drinking water and a good amount of it, but we don't give an actual amount that we suggest. You know, I've talked to a lot of people about that, and there's a lot of things out there, multiplying your weight by this and all that kind of stuff. And I don't believe that there's an actual, I personally don't believe that there's an actual number that is for sure, this is how much water that you should be drinking for each person. I see a lot of people struggling to drink and drink and drink and drink and drink because, you know, maybe they're 50 pounds overweight, and when they multiply their weight by 2, it's a heck of a lot of water, and I don't think that that's necessary. So we don't recommend it, but we do recommend drinking water. So, and plenty of water. And do we need to exercise with this program? This is not a program that requires exercise, but it's just like water. It's highly, highly recommended. And the coaches can also help with that. We work with the Beachbody program, so P90X, Insanity, T25, PiYo, the new Size program that is coming out in about a week at our Coach Summit. We work with all those programs, and if you buy Shakeology, you can get those workout programs for really cheap, like $10 for a workout program. So while we don't require workouts, we recommend them, just like water, but we do not require it to be in the program. Got more questions. What should we think about natural flavors on ingredients lists? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not gonna come back to that one. I will. I'll come back to it. Let's see. Next question. We have a question. Somebody says, I work offshore on a drilling rig. The food provided is typical cafeteria food. It is not really easy to get fresh, good food. What would you suggest for me to be successful in the 90-10 program? Okay, that's a great question. Let me answer that one, and then I'll come back to the natural flavors one. So it's hard to say without knowing what exactly you do get out there. But one of the things that I always suggest for people is when you don't get to pick your food, what you do is keep with the very simplest things that are offered. So if there's something offered that has a sauce associated with it, then or like some type of a creamy soup or a creamy dressing or something like that, most likely those are laden with a whole bunch of chemicals. Anything that easily spoils, you know, that's like a condiment or an additive or something like that, you try to stay away from those. So I tell people, you know, stick with a starch, a vegetable, and a meat. And so if you've got an option, like if you go to a restaurant, for instance, same kind of things, like you don't get as many choices. But if you go to a restaurant, one of the safest things to get is something that is like a piece of salmon or a piece of steak or a piece of chicken that has like rice and a vegetable with it, or potato and a vegetable with it. And you can do pretty well with that kind of stuff. So my advice for that, we can help you a lot more in the group as well. But there's going to be like 600 people who probably have ideas for you, but and you could probably explain like some of the things that you actually get out there a little bit better. But I would say just keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible and eat the things that you can kind of know what's in them, rather than anything that's kind of mystery food, if that makes sense. Natural flavors. Okay, let's answer this one. Natural flavors. So natural flavors are kind of yucky in the sense that natural flavor is not what a lot of people think it means. Like when they say natural strawberry flavor, they don't mean that they extracted the flavor from a strawberry. They mean that they found some substance that is naturally occurring somewhere in the world. An animal, another plant, can be from an animal even, and the chemical structure of it is such that it tastes like that food. So, for instance, now this is something that I saw there's a good 60 minutes on natural flavorings and the whole flavoring industry out there. If you watch this, there's a 60-minute show. Like the show 60 Minutes, you know, it's trying to make sure you don't think it's just 60 minutes long. It's the show 60 Minutes, and it talks about the flavoring industry. And one of the things they said in there is that strawberry flavor, for instance, natural strawberry flavor, is from a gland in a beaver somewhere near the hind end. So I don't have natural flavors on the ingredients list or on the tiers because there's so many different ones, and some of them are probably fine and some of them are kind of eh. Personally, I don't worry about natural flavors too much unless it's way up on the ingredients list. If it's way down on the ingredients list, I don't worry about it. I just eat it. So it's kind of a gray area. How long is a 90-10 challenge? So we used to do our 90-10 challenges monthly, and we kind of restarted them every month. We're still kind of doing a reboot every month, but we keep the same group. So you stay in the same group the entire time, but we kind of reboot the group every month. So you can think of a 90-10 challenge as being a month, which works out really well for the Shakeology component of things. Like if you want to try it for your first month and then you're like, nah, I don't want that Shakeology stuff, you can move on to the next month and not do the Shakeology. So it's about a month. So Melinda says, so what you're saying is 90-10 is a lifestyle change and not a diet. Absolutely. Lifestyle change, not a diet. It's about learning how to eat real food and see food in a different way. So what you're going to do is you're going to start going in the store. Once you start looking at these tiers, you're going to go in the store and you're going to be like, oh, I normally get this thing over here. And you're going to grab the box and you're going to turn it over and you're going to read the ingredients, and your eyes are going to get really big and you're going to go, I didn't know that was in it. I didn't know that was in it. I didn't know that was in it. Those things are all on the yellow tier. Those things are all on the red tier. And you're going to put it back and you're going to start learning that a lot of the things that come in boxes that seem so convenient, it really doesn't take that much longer to actually make the real thing, and it tastes better to make the real thing. And so then you're going to start seeing food in this different way, where you're like, food is a few components that you put in yourself. It's not some conglomeration of junk from a factory that comes in a box. That's not food. And so then when you start feeling that way about food, then your whole life changes. It really does. What else do we got? We done with Q&A? I think that's all that's on there right now. Anybody else got a question? Still got some people on here. I'll wait another minute or so, see if any more questions come up. I don't want to cut anybody off if they're typing right now. Otherwise, we're going to hit stop recording and call this one good for the night. I think we're good. Everybody good. All right. Thank you all for being on so much. Get with your coach. Make sure you get with your coach and get signed up, or go to 9010nutrition.com and sign up with no coach, and we'll get you assigned to one if you don't have one. Thanks again for being on the 9010 Nutrition webinar. Oh, look, I've got a question. Oh, can I drink Herbalife or other shakes on 9010? That's a great question. So the answer to that is this is your challenge, and I don't really like people drinking Herbalife while they're in 90-10 because we're associated with something else. However, if you find a shake that does not have red tier ingredients, or you want to make an exception and for your challenge and say, I'm going to drink red tier ingredients because I have this other shake, then that's going to be up to you. But I will say that just about every other shake that I've ever found has something on the red tier in it. It's got sucralose, which is Splenda, which is an artificial sweetener, and it's on the red tier. And so I don't recommend I personally do not recommend that people drink other shakes unless they have found one that is on the green tier, like Shakeology is. Some people have also come with protein shakes. Protein shakes is a good subject to go on. Shakeology is not a protein shake. It's got so much more in it than that. It's got all these vitamins and minerals, and it can act like a whole meal, and it's got carbohydrates, and it's got fats in it, and all kinds of stuff. And you cannot replace Shakeology with a protein shake. You just simply cannot do it. It's not the same thing. And you're talking about one macronutrient when you're talking about protein, and you're talking about so much more than that, like 70 plus superfoods in Shakeology, which is completely different. Now, Herbalife is a little closer to what Shakeology is. It's got a bunch of superfoods and vitamins and minerals and stuff in it, but a lot of those, I haven't checked Herbalife lately, and I don't know which shake specifically, but a lot of those do have sucralose and red tier ingredients. So then it would be an exception that you would have to make and say, this is not really 90-10, but I'm going to drink it anyway. So hopefully that answers your question. We will not kick people out for drinking Herbalife. We would appreciate it if you do not advertise Herbalife. We will probably remove people from the group for advertising other shakes, like selling them in our groups. So, all right, that's not a question, but thank you. Kim says, you're welcome. Glad you all could be on. And we'll call it a night. Thank you all for being on. Actually, I'll wait for just a little bit in case anybody had one more question, just because I just answered that whole question about Herbalife, and somebody might be typing out another question that they thought of. So I'll give it just another minute. All right, good to go. Thank you all again for being on. Good night.